Uh, I'm in Istanbul, Barnaby, and it's 20 past 1 here in the morning, and like, what a huge disappointment, staying up this late to watch my Spurs. I've been living in Istanbul for the last 4 or 5 years, but before then I lived in London for over 30 years. So I'm, London originally, and I'm Spurs through and through. Just a dross. I mean, it's so frustrating. I cannot say a single positive thing about that team tonight. It was abysmal. It seems like, all right, 2 weeks ago, we went to the City's ground.
Yeah.
Put that performance. I think that was like our trophy for the season.
Yeah.
Since then, obviously, we've seen the performances.
Can you put a reason on why?
I personally, look, obviously, okay, so when the injuries, fair enough, but I still don't quite accept that totally. In defense, if we're going to games and we're winning it 4-3 or 3-2 or 2-1 even, you can say, well, look, defense is completely bone bare. We had to put Archie Gray in there tonight after Ben Davies went off. But as far as attack and midfield is concerned, I think there's still enough quality there to be beating these teams like Fulham, like Bournemouth.
Where was that quality tonight, Orchy? Where was that quality tonight? They're absolutely woeful in the forward line.
I mean, the players, they're just not. They're just not. I mean, this season, look, I mean, tonight, even Kulusevski, who's been our best player this season so far, he was absolutely abysmal tonight.
He was just running into brick walls, wasn't he, all day? I thought he was basically just trying to do everything himself. Do you know one thing I've just thought of, Orchy? He had that one cross in the second half that nearly found Ben Davies, didn't he? And then he didn't try that move again. And that was the only time we looked dangerous. Frustrating.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, this performance tonight was like, it just reminded me of, I don't know if you remember, beginning of Rocky 3, when he goes up against Mr. T first and he just completely just gives it to him. He's just totally like given up, hasn't got a clue. His mind's somewhere else. And it's like a lot of these players tonight played like their heads were somewhere else. They weren't really there. They weren't trying. They weren't, I did not see a single, kind of aggression. I didn't see any kind of fight. I didn't see any kind of, it's just, I just don't understand. I mean, Maddison has been, apart from obviously the Man City game, he's completely fallen off a cliff. There's no creativity. There's no passion. We just laid in front of them, basically. We just, it was just like the same old crap. Do you know what I was just thinking, just when you were saying, sorry to
Oh, Orchy,
okay.
Can you hear me, mate?
It just went
can you hear me,
mate? Second.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, I was just going to say, do you know what? One thing I was just thinking when you were talking there is, what we really don't have is the physicality to match these teams. We don't have the physicality to win the battle, to then allow ourselves to play the football that we know we can play to win the war. So it's only against teams where they don't play physically, like Manchester City, like Manchester United away, where we can then play our football, because any team that comes head to head with us and tries to out-battle us wins. And we need a player or two like Moussa Dembele. We need players who are going to go in central midfield, and especially with Bentancur out. No, of course not. But especially with Bentancur out, it's too lightweight and we lose the battle, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, in the last season and a half, I thought, he fell off a little bit. But I mean, again, a player that we had was, in that sort of ilk was Højbjerg. We never replaced him. I know there's a lot of fans who didn't like them, but he's another one who just gets stuck in, very aggressive, very passionate. And we need more players like that, to be honest. And I think definitely the squad depth. I mean, fair enough, we got a couple of players in the summer, but it's just never enough. We need, I appreciate that we're investing in the future, but I think when you look at Levy and Enoch, who've been there for 20 years, thereabouts. And it's just, we keep going through these same cycles. And I think I've had enough of him, to be honest. I just think Levy, he just doesn't do enough.
He's not going anywhere, mate. He owns the club. He's not going anywhere.
I know. And I
even
think
if they're looking for investment, but he still wants it to be with him as chairman of the club.
Yeah. And I think as long as we keep that, I mean, I'd like to be positive, but I don't think not a lot is going to change. I'm sure we might have some, decent seasons where, especially some of these youngsters, flourish. Obviously, I mean, like Bergvall, he's another one. He was supposed to be kind of like Luka Modric and Christian Eriksen when he first came to the club, rolled into one. And all right, he's only just arrived.
Yeah.
But there's a number of players that need a couple of seasons to kind of really flourish. But we need some ready-made players and fighters in that team. And we haven't got them, like you said. We just haven't got them. They're gutless. They're just like you said. Every time we come up against sort of, like you say, the sort of mid-table teams, with all due respect, like the Fulhams and the Bournemouths and the Crystal Palaces, we come unstuck because they play aggressively, and our players just seem to be, la la la, and they just get, they always get second to the balls, the fight, everything else.
Orchy, let's ask ourselves a serious question here. How dangerous do you think a position Ange is in right now in terms of what we've all seen Levy do with managers when they're on on difficult ground?
Yeah, I think if I had to be honest, like purely from Levy's point of view, I think he still has some credit personally, because last season he did get us into European football again, so I think there's some credit there still, and I think Levy will just take, without questioning it much, he'll take the fact that obviously we've got so many players out injured, so that will I think that will be, but if we go on, because when you look at the fixture list, we've got obviously Chelsea next, which I'm not looking forward to at the weekend. They're on fire at the moment with the players that they have. Then we've got United in the cup, and then we've got Liverpool. Is it Liverpool after that?
I actually don't know. But so you think? So when you say you think he's got credit, that will last us through past Christmas? Do you think?
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think into the new year, if things haven't improved, like obviously, hopefully, if we get some couple of the players back, and there might be some improvement, but if there's no improvement, then I think he's probably got another maybe month just after Christmas, basically. But if things haven't improved, then I think he'll start getting trigger happy again.
Orchy, stay with me. I just want to say something to Neil, who is going to be someone I'm going to interview later. Can you just turn your screen on, Neil, just so I know that you're definitely there? And I'll talk to you in a bit if you are. Orchy, I'm just going to go through some of the comments. Let's go through some of these together if we can. Pete Northern Ireland says, since Levy took over, he has become an even richer individual. It's a business owning a football team. Graham Kennefic says, I like Solanke, but he is a backup striker, not a starter. He is not a ruthless finisher. Orchy, let me ask you about that, because one thing I'd say, and I've said it a few times, is I do feel like Tottenham fans have had to kind of reevaluate what we feel a good chance is, because Harry Kane was so brilliant that half chances, became good chances for him. How do you feel Solanke has done in general, and has that been affected by his performance tonight? To me, he looked like someone who had just come back from illness tonight a little bit.
Yeah. No, definitely. He's been in some of the recent games. Or even most of the games. I have to admit, he's quite good at kind of leading the line, closing down defenders, and kind of causing them to make errors and things like that. So he's been, I still would have expected more goals from him. I think he's still in front of goal. He's been sometimes a little bit clumsy. I would have expected him to put some chances that he's had so far this season away. I do want more goals from him, but he does do a lot of hold up play and bringing other players in as well. But yeah, I mean, I think
should say, Orchy, sorry to interrupt, but they're just showing Ange Postecoglou looks like he had a little bit of a head-to-head kind of with one of the, it looks like it's Spurs fans basically having a go at him from the away end, and he went pretty close to them actually, and a steward got in the way, and Ange kind of pointing at himself, and looked like a bit of a that stuff like that will not help him in the long run, I have to say.
No. I mean, look, you can't. I mean, what is he expecting at the end of the day after a performance like that? Which I appreciate. It's
Agreed.
not like, you know, he can only be, you know, manager. So it does come down to the players at the end of the day. He can give all the instructions in the world. He can give all the plans in the world. If the players don't put that into action, then fair enough. But there's one thing that frustrates me about him is that he's really late with changes as well. Like today, he waited till, you know, the 75th minute to bring a couple of more players on. I think he only made one change. Like I would have expected, to be honest, the way the first half went, I would have expected a change, 1 or 2 players change at halftime, possibly, or just after halftime. You know, wait, give it 5-10 minutes. On the 55th minute, you know, it was still abysmal. It was still awful. And so I would have
so
made changes
comfortable for Bournemouth, wasn't it? I'm just going to go into some more comments.
Sure.
William P, a good point here. Even Kulu was out muscled today, tried to do too much on his own, almost as if he does not trust some of his teammates. I actually agree with that. I thought Kulusevski was trying to do too much on his own. If you watch the watch along, you'll have seen that I see this with Son far too much, where he tries to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And actually where Son is at his most dangerous is when he stays out wide. We were so narrow today throughout the whole game. We never, ever stayed wide. And I don't know why. And this is on Ange, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know why he must have told them, oh, keep coming narrow every time. Keep coming narrow. That's where we can, you know, make chances. No. Bournemouth were very happy to be narrow and push us out wide all the time. We never went out wide. So they're just showing Ange again. Ange points at someone in the fan base. Just going to turn on the sound. So someone in the crowd is having a go at him, I think. And he's shaking his head. He's like, yeah, come. He's like basically gesturing to come out for the guy from the crowd to come and talk to him directly. I think that shows him slightly losing the plot, to be honest. And that is not going to work very well for him. Listen, Orchy, it's been great talking to you, mate, but I'm going to bring on a couple of other guests. But thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And try somehow to enjoy the rest of your week, but it will not be easy.